Hello and welcome back to The Give and Go. I'm your co-host Reynoso here with my boy
Soltero.
You're not going to hit me with the what's up, guys?
It's new season. Maybe we change it up a little bit.
It's true. We don't even have a live audience right now.
That's
You're right.
true.
You're right. It's a lot different talking like this. But folks, we're back. We are back after a 2-week break after covering the Copa America, the OFC Nations Cup, and the Euros. We needed some time to rest, but I feel reset. I feel fresh, and I wanted to jump back into what's going on right now in the world of football, which is the Summer Olympics.
Yeah, honestly, it's been a long 2 weeks after just going back to back to back, day after day after day, covering so much football. It was so fun doing with, everybody 100%. Involved, man. But we're back. We got some Olympic football, and man, what an interesting tournament, dude, because, at the end of the day, it is a youth tournament, right? Yep. U23, every team can bring 3 overage players. It's been fun though, and just to be completely honest, I just started watching in this last match day, so there's some football to talk about. There's some teams that look really good and some teams that look pretty shitty.
No, 100%, bro. Yeah. Because the level is down here, man.
It's
because
different,
the thing is, yes, it's a youth tournament, but some teams aren't even bringing their best youth players. Like Lamine Yamal ain't here, right? Whereas you would think that a tournament that's tailored towards the younger players would elicit bringing on these really good star class players that are wonder kids, but honestly you get this weird mix of players that are good enough to play for this tournament but aren't good enough to play for like the Euros or for the Copa America teams involved. So it's really interesting. Then you add in the factor of being able to invite 3 players over the age of 23, and all of a sudden you have a 36-year-old Otamendi bodying up a 21-year-old, or Lacazette going head to head with a 20-year-old center back. It's very, very interesting. But what's important now is that we've reached the quarterfinal stage, and as you mentioned, we've been trying to catch up. We've been trying to catch up with the Olympics so far, but it is fun ultimately trying to decide and trying to see who's going to end up winning this tournament. So let's quickly preview and predict how these quarterfinal matchups will go now that we've seen how the group stage has progressed, which in comparison to the Euros and Copa America went by like that, bro.
Dude, I can't believe it. Quick, bro. But yeah, France are also the host technically, since Paris is hosting the Olympics. The atmospheres has been great, at least seeing the highlights of those France games and looking at the game today that they played. They look good. And to your point, man, I was looking at the France squad. They had 10 players that they originally called up that had to go back to their clubs because their clubs just didn't let them play at the Olympics.
Wow. Dude.
And they still look to be like one of the better teams at this tournament. So it just goes to show like there's a lot of interesting narratives at play here at the Olympic football.
Or like Japan, who apparently didn't call up anybody above 23. They just decided to go full throttle with young players. So I think it's going to make for a really interesting tournament. What's really cool is that I feel like the narratives of the official, of the adult squads kind of transcends over to these teams. When you look at teams like Spain and what they're trying to achieve, teams like France and Argentina, even the USA, it's kind of a similar narrative that they still carry. It makes for a really interesting discussion. So let's get right into it, because to me, the first matchup that just pops out to me regarding the quarterfinals has to be the fact that we're going to get a France versus Argentina matchup, dude. We've got Javier Mascherano going up against Thierry Henry on the sidelines, Thiago Almada, Alexandre Lacazette, Michael Olise. This is a really interesting matchup that we're going to see, but it's also really fun because we already know there's some beef brewing between both these countries after what happened at the World Cup in 2022 and how it ended, and then obviously some really unfortunate events happening after the Copa America celebrations too. I think this France team as well as the fans are going to be fired up for this matchup against Argentina.
Not only are they going to be fired up, man, but this is their game. Argentina's not winning this match. I watched both of their matches today, and I think clearly the better team is France. And I think it kind of speaks for itself, man, because you look at France, and we've said this before, I'll say it again, and we'll probably keep saying it for the next 20, 40 years. France is one of the biggest producers of talent in the football world, period. And over the last 10 years, you look every single year of players that leave France, these are top ballers. And there's no, And it's no different when you look at this squad. You already mentioned some really top ballers like Michael Olise, but just the rest of France, like their natural ability is so much better than the youth teams of any other country. And they've played very well so far at this tournament. They just thrashed New Zealand. They thrashed the USA. And those were two decent teams, and, you know, more specifically with the USA. And you look at Argentina, and they're not a bad team. Do not get me wrong, but they had a really close game against Ukraine today. And honestly, if Ukraine just had better finishers, they probably would have at least tied or won that game. Argentina's midfield is pretty weak, in my opinion, but they make up for it by having players like Julian Alvarez, for example. Giuliano Simeone has also been pretty active, and their defense is good, especially if you consider that they have Rulli at the back and also Nico Otamendi. So I think the defensively, Argentina will be just fine, but I think their midfield is going to get ran, and overall, I back France's offense to outscore Argentina.
That offense is good. That offense is really good. But then I think in every sector of the pitch, despite having young players, they do have a really formidable player that I think stands out amongst the team. For example, up top, you have Lacazette, you have Olise, but then you also have Mateta, who went off, dude, for Crystal Palace recently this past year. So that's an incredible front line. Then the midfield, you have Kone, who I think is a great midfielder and just part of that pool of midfielders that France has been generating for the past 5-10 years. That's just really, really solid. And then at back, you still have Lukeba, the Leipzig product, I believe, 23 years old, a really good player that's seen really good competition this entire past season. So I think the depth pool of France is just a little bit better than Argentina's. And I think they can go star for star with the best players that Argentina brings to this tournament. I think France can match it, playing at home too. I'm putting the impetus on them to win this game. If Argentina does it, though, they got France's number.
Yeah, it'd be crazy.
Like in all tournaments, like they got France's number if they get a result here.
Yeah, what I am excited about is, yes, I'm backing France to win it, but Argentina are going to take this opportunity, knowing that they are in France and have a crazy opportunity to just upset the host. It'd be crazy. And then you already labeled all of the narratives that are going on into this game. It'd be nuts if Argentina can get the result, but I'm still going to stick to France. But, dude, I do want to say it is good seeing Mascherano again.
Is it, bro?
It is, man.
That man has haunted me, bro.
You know, like him?
The games he played against Mexico, bro, kills me, dude. But I mean, yeah, it's good to see him in the sense of an old face.
It's good to see
an old face, man. It's good to see him, and he's active on those sidelines.
Active, but also, and I want to get the people's opinion on this too. I think it's fair to say Julian Alvarez is probably the highest profile name at this Olympics.
Think about it. I want to think about that real quick.
Because like in 2016,
Spain
it was
didn't bring anybody
Neymar, right?
Yeah.
And Heung-min Son has played in the Olympics before. Yeah. But you look at this edition,
Linus.
A lot of teams...
Linus was here last time.
a lot of teams didn't really bring like a big star, but Alvarez, I think, is the exception. You could also say Otamendi, but I'll say Alvarez because he's a Premier League and Champions League winner.
What about Hakimi?
Hakimi's
a big name.
He's big, but he's not a World Cup winner.
Yeah. We have Japan Spain didn't bring anybody above 23. Paraguay has Enciso. Egypt has Zizou or whatever.
Zizou, yeah.
But no, I think easily.
I'd say Hakimi's right underneath though.
Hakimi's right there.
I like that.
Maybe Olise is in the top 5. Yeah, but. That's crazy. That is pretty crazy then, that Julian Alvarez is the guy at this tournament.
He's the guy.
Yeah, and the narrative for him is really interesting because I'm hearing so many rumors about where he should go now that it seems like he wants to leave Manchester City, and he's reportedly said that he is going to wait until after this tournament to decide. But you got a lot of teams, including your very own Atletico Madrid, looking at him right now playing at this tournament after already playing in the Copa America, by the way, being super busy. But, with hopes to maybe switch up his team after this tournament. So a lot going on for Julian Alvarez in his career right now.
Yeah, it also not worries me, but I always find it interesting when players feature for their national team at a major tournament like the Copa America and then still feature for their country at the Olympics, which is literally just 3 weeks later. I don't know, it concerns me, man. I always get worried. Luckily Alvarez isn't my player, at least maybe not yet, but man, if he was, I'd be like, oh shit, I'd be so nervous watching him play every time because dude, he hasn't rested.
Yeah,
he's gotten zero rest. So hey, Alvarez, only he knows how much energy energy he has, and apparently he's got a ton.
I'm going France. You're going France?
I'm going France.
All right, chat. Let me know, what do you guys think will happen in this France versus Argentina matchup? Let's move on over to the next matchup, which is honestly a surprising one. We got Africa's very own Egypt, who topped their group, going up against CONMEBOL's second finest in this tournament, Paraguay, man. Paraguay, a team who I had to look into to see how they even qualified into this tournament, where in the first round of Olympic qualifying in CONMEBOL, they finished off in second behind Argentina, I believe. They make it out of their group of 5 teams. But then the final stage, in a group with Brazil, Argentina, and Venezuela, Paraguay topped it. They fucking topped it by defeating Brazil and tying Argentina and getting more points in total. I cannot believe it. Is there an argument to me that this Paraguay team under 23 side is better than the actual team, man? Good Lord, man.
It's so interesting, though, because I was looking at a lot of squads that got to this Olympics, and the teams that actually got their country qualified a lot of times are very, very different than the teams that are actually playing right now. And it does make sense because a lot of the qualification tournaments were 2 years ago. And, you know, going from players that are 19, 20 years old to 22, 23, that's the equivalent of like 10 years in the professional realm. Like, you could have a player who's 18 who's not even playing pro football anymore because he just sucks. Or you could have the inverse, where a player who wasn't that good when he was 18 is now really good when he's 22, 23. So you get these effects where the teams are so different. And I think that's why I'll say, like, this Paraguay team is just, I think, one of those teams that I don't want to say got lucky, but yeah, maybe they were a lot better when they were U20, U21, but now at U23, I'm not seeing nothing, bro. Because we just saw the game against Mali, bro. And Marcelo Fernandez scored a banger. Baller. Do not get me wrong. He scored an absolute banger. But after that, Paraguay didn't do anything. And honestly, Mali should have had 2, 3, 4 goals in this match, but unfortunately they don't have anybody to finish their chances. So Paraguay are through to the quarterfinals, but I think they're going to face a very tough team in Egypt.
A inspired Egyptian side that just today not only defeated Spain, dominated them. Dominated the Spanish team. They were up 2-0, and Spain basically got a consolation goal at the very end, but for the entire match, Egypt looked like by far the better side, and it's Zizou up top on that right wing, providing an assist in this game, I believe. But then also Mohamed El Neni in the midfield, just commanding, dominating as he does, especially at this talent pool, at this level. He is proving, or he is showing his class amongst the rest of these players. So I think those 2 players have been impactful so far. And then you got a great performance today offensively from their striker, Abel, who I'd never heard of before, but was so close to getting a hat trick in this game against Spain. A really good finisher and just a great poacher overall. Love what I've seen from Egypt, the energy, the motivation, what they got at hand right now, dude. I'm excited, bro, because them, as well as Morocco, these African sides are showing up with some really good energy to this tournament, and you can tell they're like taking it serious. Like, they want to get a medal here at the Olympics.
Now, it is interesting because in that game against Spain, 5 of their starters actually started on the bench because they were already through with 6 points. But I will say, I completely agree with the energy that Egypt has brought to this tournament. They're taking it absolutely seriously, and so much so, after this performance against Spain, I think it's fair to say Egypt are title contenders. Maybe not favorites, but I think Egypt have the organization and the discipline to beat pretty much any team at this tournament. And I think they proved that by beating Spain. You already described some of the players that had a really good performance against Spain. And dude, you're right. Mohamed El Neni, Kuka, and Shaheta in that midfield, they're so compact. They're so physical. They make it really difficult for the opponent to have any joy going forward. And then when they do get the ball, it's immediate release to those 2 wingers that you already named, Zizou and Adel. And Adel, who got 2 really good goals today. That first one from the assist from Zizou was a beautiful goal. So Egypt look very, very good, both defensively and offensively.
And so that's why I have them winning this matchup against Paraguay. I don't know if I can say title contenders. I'll go dark horses. Yeah. Dark horses for Egypt is where I'm going to go. But even then, if they get a bronze, silver medal in this tournament, that's super admirable, because I would not have predicted that before the tournament started. You're going Egypt too?
I'm going Egypt. And also, just I want to get people's thoughts on this too. If you look at Zizou, bro, he looks like Christian Pulisic. I want everyone to go take a good look at Zizou's face.
Look at him.
And even like his hair, his body type, he looks like Christian Pulisic out on that pitch, man. He's the Egyptian Pulisic. It's nuts. It's crazy, bro.
Body language wise, I could see it.
Yeah.
I just don't. I can't actually conjure up the image of his face right now.
Yeah, go look it up. Everyone go look it up. Bring up a Pulisic picture and a Zizou picture. It's pretty crazy, the similarities, man.
Okay, let us know. Chat, let us know in the comments down below. Let us know what you think. Moving on to the next matchup, we have Japan going up against Spain in the quarterfinals. I think it's a very technical matchup that we're going to see here from two countries that I think are famous for how they're teaching the way of football right now. Whereas like Egypt and Paraguay, you could say, are maybe anomalies. Like maybe just the teams themselves are playing really good football. But Japanese football and Spanish football, the way they're teaching it, it makes sense to me that they're here at the Olympics in the quarterfinals. So it's a matter of seeing which team can dominate the other, because Spain, for as, sorry they looked in that Egyptian matchup, you're right. They did not have their best team out. And when at 100%, I think they could play a really good game in this tournament, and they could be title contenders, honestly. And Japan, kind of the same thing, dude. That energy, that technique, the intelligence they have on the ball is really, really good and dangerous. I think this is going to be one of the more closer matchups in the quarterfinals. And I'd like to know in the chat, who do you guys have winning this matchup?
Yeah, man. I haven't seen Japan play at the Olympics yet, so this will be the first time I see them play against Spain, but I completely agree. It is no surprise to me that they're here, that they topped their group. They're in the quarterfinals playing Spain, because you look at the J League over the last 10 years, more often than not, one of their teams gets to the AFC Champions League final. And most of the time, it's with a completely domestic team, minus one or two Brazilians. So for Japanese football to be where it is right now, this is exactly where it needs to be. They've built themselves up as really good teachers of the game. And so I'm very excited to see what they can do against Spain. Now, the thing is with Spain, man, it's very similar. I mean, Spain are probably one of the best teachers of the game. And you look at this team, it's just like Barcelona products. It's Atleti products, man. You have Valencia products, Diego Lopez. I mean, you have Pau Cubarsí, Fermin Lopez, Eric Garcia. All of these guys are, I don't want to say established at their clubs, but at a very early age, they were already picked out as, all right, you're good enough to play at the senior level. Yeah. And that's the type of level and talent that this Spanish squad has. So for me, when I look at who will probably win, I'm gonna go Spain, even though they did lose to Egypt today. But I think they'll turn it up a notch, because I do have Spain as one of the better teams here at this tournament in general.
For sure. Also, Sergio Gomez, another name.
Sergio Gomez,
I think is great. Spain also has that narrative of trying to dominate international football right now.
That's crazy.
Which is crazy, because they could be on a path of potentially facing off against Argentina, who's doing the same thing on the other side of the hemisphere. Both these teams have been winning everything recently in international football. Yeah. We could ultimately see them fight it out for an Olympic medal, which would be dope. But it starts here for Spain against Japan. I'm going to go Japan, though.
You're going Japan?
Yeah, nice. I got a little bit of an upset happening in this quarterfinal. I think it's a little bit tougher to predict these matches with the youth involved. I just see Japan forming to be a really tough opponent, and I want to see how this Spanish team does when they can't really break down a Japanese side. I think they're going to struggle in figuring out how to beat this Japanese side offensively, because for as good of a title contender they are, I don't think their offense is equivalent to that of France or maybe even Argentina, low-key, bro. They don't really have a standout offensive player that matches the likes of those teams. So I think Japan has a chance here to expose that, play a really good defensive game, and bite off the counter. When we've seen what the Japanese can do in those type of settings, they can be killer, bro. They can be killer. So I'm going to go with Japan in this matchup. I'm going Japan. The last matchup we have is Morocco going up against the USA, baby. USA. Maybe when you meant semifinal run, maybe you were talking about the Olympics, bro. You were talking about the Olympics.
Hey, USA might get a gold medal, bro.
USA finished in second place in their group, right behind France, and Morocco ends up topping their group after some very inspiring performances, defeating Argentina in their first match, and then actually losing to Ukraine after being up a man, despite being up a man, losing that match, but then bouncing back today and dominating. Morocco looks really, really good, man. My goodness. Let's start with them, because they got AFC starlet Rahimi up top, PSG's finest, Hakimi back there also helping out. And then you got Ezzazzouli, who scored a beauty of a goal.
What a goal.
As well. Morocco, as well as the fans, have arrived to Paris, dude. And honestly, they've been one of the more fun teams to watch so far and keep up with, because I think they provided the best energy at this tournament.
Bro, they murdered Iraq. Murdered them. They had no chance. The moment that whistle blew, Morocco came out with an energy and offensive style that honestly, I didn't even see France come out with. So Morocco going into this next stage looking like the best team offensively. Maybe defensively there's some holes, but dude, the players that they have, you already named, Rahimi and Ezzazzouli, definitely probably one of the better duos at this tournament. And it feels like I have deja vu because we keep praising this man, Soufiane Rahimi.
No one's listening,
bro. We've been saying this since October. Rahimi.
4 goals, bro.
And in May, he ended as the top goal scorer in the continent of Asia. And now we're here in August, July, and he's the top goal scorer so far in the Olympics. My goodness, bro. I mean, like, if you haven't been on this Rahimi train, get on it now, because he's 28 years old. We might not have much more of him. He's a late bloomer. Yeah. But right now, this is Rahimi's world, and we are all living in it. He's going off. He got another really good poaching goal today. Ezzazzouli alongside him scored an absolute banger. Morocco are going off, and this is going to be a crazy matchup, bro, because the USA themselves are looking pretty good as well.
The response they gave after that trashing against France was actually really good.
Yeah.
Actually really good. They defeated New Zealand 4-1, I think was the final scoreline. And then today they defeated Guinea with my very own Naby Keita playing, which was crazy to see. They defeated them pretty comfortably and dominated that game. So USA got 6 points in total, but I would say there's a difference in energy, because there is a bit of what would I call it? Skepticism, I guess, attached to USA football right now. And so the energy is a little bit different. It's not as inspiring as Morocco when I watch them play.
That's so true.
You know, people ask for a little bit more when they see this USA squad. The thing is, this is the time to do it, because you're going up against a really in-form squad in Morocco that looks really, really good. But this will be a great test for this young U.S. squad, which does have their own ballers as well, with it often criticized player scoring a banger today in Mihailovic. My goodness, what a free kick he had. And then guys like Kevin Paredes just going off today as well. The USA squad actually has a lot of good talent, which we've noted for a while now, because they have been developing that talent. But does it ultimately end up in a deep run at the Olympics? That's my question, because for as good as we highlighted that talent to be, it's these moments where they have to be able to step up and show up on these stages, man.
I think offensively and in the midfield, we can match up to Morocco perfectly. So much so that I do expect the USA to get at least a goal or two. I think where the game equalizes, though, is defensively, I don't think we'll have enough to stop Rahimi or Ezzazzouli. So I could see this game, being like 2-2 or, 3-2, an absolute shootout. Who it'll go to, I think, will just come down to discipline. Who has the bigger mentality? You look at the back for Morocco, I mean, you got a guy like Hakimi who's able to join in on the defense and really shore things up. And, I don't think the USA have a guy like that necessarily, a true leader who plays at the highest level. We don't really have that. And I think that's the small difference, in my opinion, that'll give Morocco the edge. But look, man, the USA have a genuinely good offense. The front three, you have Aronson, Kevin Paredes. You could even add Mihailovic as the creator behind that. But then on that left side, Griffin Yao, who plays in Belgium for Westerlo, he looked fantastic today. He got the start today because he had a good appearances in that second match. I expect him to start I expect him to start against Morocco, but what I really like about Griffin, man, is he's so direct. He gets the ball. He has one thing on his mind. It's just take on his man. He had a great game against Guinea. The Guinean defenders literally could not hold him. Every time he got on the ball, it was one touch and he was gone. Griffin Yao is one of those players that I always highlight every year. There's always like one USA player that out of nowhere just pops up. He's that guy this year. Apparently, he was like in the U17 system. didn't play for like 4 years, and then all of a sudden got the call up to the Olympic team. And I get why, because he's so talented on the ball. He's so forward thinking. I think he's going to be a key component if the USA want to score goals. So I like what we have offensively. And then you look at the midfield, you have Tanner Tessman, you have Dietz as well. I like what they do. I mean, Tessman himself is an excellent box-to-box midfielder. It's why I think we'll be fine against Morocco's midfield. It's just, I worry at the back. Zimmerman's good. Zimmerman's good. He's very experienced, but, he's never been the best defender. You look at the rest of the defense that the USA have, and it's not a lot of experience at this level. But that's why we're here at the Olympics. It's to gain that experience. So I truly think this is going to be a really tight game. I think this is going to be one of the more entertaining matches of the quarterfinals. I'll give the edge to Morocco, but I'm going all the way USA, baby. I'm going USA.
You have to. You have to.
And I think there's a genuine chance they can win.
No, I'm not. Oh, for sure. For sure. You're not crazy this time. This time you're not crazy.
All right.
But it's also interesting that the USA, the players they decided to bring up that are above 23 years old were Mihailovic and then 2 defenders, Zimmerman and Miles Robinson. And so I would hope that those defenders step up in this moment, because this is when they need the most, man, to contain the firepower of Rahimi and everybody else involved. I do have Morocco winning this game. I have Morocco winning this game because I think at the end of the day, there's an argument to be made that they have the best 3 players on the pitch playing for their team. I would say Rahimi, Hakimi, and then we can debate Hezazuli if you'd like. But I think this Morocco team is really, really good, and I just want to see it. I want to see it happen, dude, because they're one of the few teams that are actually like damn near selling out their games too that isn't France right now. It's crazy. The fans are fully in attendance, and I just love to see it. So I'm going to go Morocco on this one. Chat, let me know, who do you have winning this matchup? And ultimately, let me know, who do you have winning the tournament now that we've entered the quarterfinal stage of the Summer Men's Olympic Football Tournament? Let me know, guys, and we'll catch you guys next time. Peace.